Well, hey folks, Species7 here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Farm Sim 19. I was just looking at the vehicle HUD here for the extended vehicle, and I'm noticing the liter per hour. It's the white writing. It would be right-hand box just above the fuel tank. Yeah, the white writing there is 17.49 liters per hour is what this thing consumes. Just sitting here like a brick with the engine running. So, wow. That's about what I consume in a month in my car, I kid you not. Watch what happens when I light the header up. Wow. Yeah, just wow. Really? 245 liters an hour. Now, is that going to go up as we start pushing grain? Because it really should. It's actually going down. We're down to... oh. And then it starts to climb back up. I mean, by all rights, this should be the peak of consumption, when we're not only running that big head, but we're pushing her through 40 feet of grain. But it's not. It just keeps bobbling up and down around the 130 to 150. So, odd. Oh, well. Like I said, I was just taking notice of it. Huh. Okay. I removed a mod. Well, I didn't remove it. I've disabled one of the mods, the animal HUD. I wasn't actually using it. And although I'm not getting errors on my single player, I noticed that I was getting pages and pages of Lua call stack errors on the server. And it all had to do with the timing, setting time for the animals. So, I don't know, I don't have any other real sort of animal-related mods, and it didn't list an exact mod, it just kept coming up with an error, a Lua stack error. And went on for, like I said, pages and pages and pages. So, oh well. We shall figure it out. I had some... I was actually on the server last night and ran into some rather strange events. What the heck was I doing? Oh, I was pulling a forage wagon, collecting the row of grass I had just cut. And suddenly it would stutter to a stop. And then, man, and I haven't seen this since, I played some badly optimized MMOs. It would suddenly rubber band forward. What must have been easily the equivalent of 150 miles an hour, or the equivalent, I should say. And then it would sort of stutter, and then go forward at normal. It was really weird. And what was strange is it wasn't like said rubber banding where everything sort of... because the speedometer was keeping up in real time. Like it would suddenly drop to 2 kilometers an hour, and then it would just peg the needle. You know, it's obviously not capable of actually going as fast as the vehicles were, or registering it as fast as the vehicles were. But yeah, it would just suddenly pin it against the top limiter, and then, jerk back down to 1 or 2 kilometers, and then sail along at 10. So yeah, really, really strange. It happened a couple of times. I mean, that may have been something with my own machine going on in the background, but it just didn't really feel like it. And for probably the first time, since I've been on this server, the ping wasn't consistent. Now, this has nothing to do with that animal HUD mod, obviously. But yeah, it was rather odd. As I say, it was not consistent at all. It was constant fluctuations between my usual low to mid 50s up into the mid-80s, which again is nothing. You know, that sort of a ping is more than acceptable. But it's the first time it's ever fluctuated that much. Now, I also had some weird internet things go on yesterday. I was actually sitting here. I was watching Driz doing a race on YouTube. And, well done, by the way, but... how are we doing here? 61%. Okay. And, I finished watching that, and I decided I'd go in and light up my X-Bone and get a little more comfortable to watch a couple more videos. And it wouldn't sign me in. It wouldn't connect with Xbox Live. Now here's the weird thing. The first thing I thought of course, well, you know, considering what you're paying for it, Xbox Live goes down far too often. I mean, obviously the cheap Canadian part of me leaps to the forefront. And so I came back in here, went onto the PC and lit her back up, went to the Xbox Live status site, and it was green lights across the board. That was a little weird. Oh, that's it, hey? You're just not gonna do it. You're gonna leave me like less than 4,000 short. Alright, well, I'm gonna go and drop this off. Yes, I am. Now, this might be trouble, but I'm gonna actually sneak in here. Oh wow, that's ours too, isn't it? Yes, it is. Oh my. Alright, well, that's okay. Oh, okay, yeah, I think this'll... Yeah, it might not have been my best choice, but that's okay. It's gonna get us there as well. Hey, our grass is coming back in. Nice to see. Nice to see indeed. Alrighty. Now, take a sharp, take another sharp, and we're ready to go. Excellent. We have enough oats to feed a horse for a bazillion years. However, we don't have any horses. So no doubt, at some point, I will end up taking this and selling it. Yeah, I gotta say, the whole horse thing, I'm not all that enamored with it. I'm really not. You know. I mean, yeah, okay, they are worth a reasonable amount of money once all is said and done, but there's an awful lot of... See how close we are now and the cows are still static? Now they're all back to normal. Do you think I didn't see you standing there, gazing off the same direction as all the other cows? Huh? Do you really think you're getting away with it? Yeah, never talk to a brown and white cow. They'll just ignore you. Alright. Anyway. Other strange occurrences. Oh, yes, indeed. It's Sunday morning. It's just full of strange occurrences. Good old Mother Nature, the biatch, has decided to make a liar out of me. Here I am, such a happy West Coast camper, going, well, we've had our snow for the year. Rah, rah, sis, boom, bah, it is behind us. Well, as I peer out my window, which I can't because the curtains are closed, I notice that it's actually snowing its bag off out there right now. Like, literally, yeah, it's just a crashing down. But, again, you know, it'll be gone by tomorrow. You know, maybe even tonight, who knows. So, not that big a deal, but rather strange to get that twice in 1 year. And like a month apart, you know, I mean, come on. I'm barely over the trauma of the first time. I'm just kidding. I just know that some of you live in real Canada and put up with Canadian winters. And, yeah, I'm just so happy I never have to do that again. Oh, man, I'll tell you, living in Ontario darn near killed me. If I hadn't been so young and spry, it probably would. spry. There's a term you don't hear anymore. I wonder if the human race has lost its spryness. We traded it in for touchscreens. Indeed. This is field taking a little bit of doing, isn't it? There we go. Good enough. I find it really hard to judge that end. It's just way out there. Am I doing close? Nope. I can be a little more generous with the row than that. Okay, that's right about right. How does that look? Okay. So we want to rub that outer wheel right through that last stalk of grain. And then we should be good. Or oat, I should say. It's funny, at one point it was suggested to maybe cut down on my wheat and glutens to see if that would help the issues I have with walking with my legs being in so much pain. And, you know, it's not until you try something like that that you realize just how dependent you become on certain things in your diet. You know, I mean, wow. When suddenly faced with exactly what I ate that contained wheat, I was like, oh, alrighty then. You know, and I mean, it starts first thing in the morning. Yeah, you'll not be having that toast, you know, not unless you're one of those weirdos that bought, you know, $8 a loaf gluten-free bread. No, I'll go without before I'll spend $8 for a loaf of bread. But, you know, and your usual cereal? No siree, Bob. In fact, that's why oats reminded me of it. The only thing I could actually find that I would actually eat that wasn't, you know, just some weird yuppie-upped, you know, oh, gluten-free goofy-o cereal or whatever the heck it was. You know, here, buy this. It's only $9 a box that you could stick inside your coffee cup. It was Cheerios. Yes, indeed. Those little weird rings that we all grew up eating since we were babies. Yeah, about the best source I could find of something to eat for breakfast. You know. So, yeah. And I mean, they're darn good, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong. Oh, and by the way, after about 3 months of, you know, cutting back to the point where I barely remembered what a slice of bread looked like, never mind tasted like, yeah, did nothing. It was rather a shot in the dark. It's just some of the symptoms were very similar to a gluten intolerance. You know, the muscle cramping and stuff like that. But no, no. I'm way too gimpy for standard solutions. Well, our journey's going to be considerably shorter in this thing now because we cut a big chunk of the outside of it off. So, yay for us. Mr. Grizz, if you're watching, I did go and have a look at Fenton Farm. Stevie's work in progress. It looks like it's, or Fenton Forest, I'm sorry. And it looks like it's going to be pretty good. Threw me for a bit of a loop at first because I thought I read that you put Renton, which, you know, made sense because there's a Renton, Washington, which is quite a heavily forested area. Not very far from me when you get right down to it. And when I went to look for it on Google, of course, that's what I got was pages and pages about the real Renton forest. Of course, it happens to be Fenton forest. I know, doesn't seem like a big change overall, but one of those things, man. One litter can make all the difference. One letter, sorry. I mean, one litter can make all the difference too, but yeah, one letter. And looking pretty good. It's much, much, much too early to be starting any sort of a series on it, but we may go and have a look at it nonetheless. Yeah. Stevie's a pretty prolific modder, knows what he's doing. Now, some of the early vehicle mods had a little bit of issues, but I don't think that was, or for FS19, but I don't think that was actually Stevie's fault. I think it was still at that point where, you know, Giants hadn't quite released all of their scripts to modders. I don't know if they still have. I'm still coming across maps that are made recently and stuff where the modders are going, well, I couldn't get the forest triggers to work because of Giant scripting still not being available and things like that. So, makes me wonder, are they actually, you know, the only reason I can see they would do that would be that if they weren't actually convinced that that system was the one that would remain in place. There's no use releasing script code if it's going to be obsolete, but people actually create anything with it. I don't know. That's purely supposition. I don't really know how all that stuff works, obviously. Even I can only know so much. Yeah, don't kid yourselves anyway. Alright. We are getting, well, we're getting close, aren't we? Kinda. Yeah. It's almost a normal-sized field now. So there is hope. And we're certainly not going to have a shortage of the straw material. And I've got more than enough bales to keep us going pretty much forever, so I don't really need more bales. I don't need loose straw so much. So I think this is all going to end up going to these sales, of which, of course, we'll get next to nothing for. That's okay. That's okay. That's something I was doing on the multiplayer server last night. There was a great demand at the barn, but it was only for hay. And so I cut all my grass, and then I picked it all up in the forage wagon, thinking that, you know, but unfortunately grass was worth like 54, and the great demand on the other was like well over, almost 3 times that. So what I did is I'd fill the forage wagon, pick a nice strip where I didn't have anything going on, and have it hit the unload here function. And if you go at full speed with the forage wagon unloading, it will basically give you almost as neat a row as you get from, well, from the first one like you're getting out of the back of the harvester here, right? So yeah, it works out pretty good. Alright, I'm going to stop doing these short rows now. I think they're just getting too short. We'll go for the long ones. Spend too much time turning around. Oop! And of course there's that. How are you for fuel? What do you do? 6.8 liters an hour. Alright, doesn't seem to have as much issue. Holy cow, really? At full throttle, I'm using almost 100 a liter an hour. Well, I guess that's an hour though, isn't it? I guess if you drove at full throttle in a great big monkey like this tractor. Because from what I understand, although we're used to it from Farm Sim, actually running a tractor this big is not terribly common. You know, like this would be considered a monster. And it is. You know, I mean, all you need to do is climb out of the darn thing and you can, you know, appreciate the fact that, oh, look. Hey, Michelin Man, why are you the same size as me? Yeah, they are big puppies. Alrighty. Yeah, we're definitely not going to... there we go. Sort of make it look like it belonged. There we are. We are just about done this bit. Very nice. Now I still have to clean up that mess of bales in the yard, but I'm going to use the old-fashioned way of doing that. I'm going to grab them all with the bale stacker and simply use it as my reloading tool. So it's one thing I really liked about auto-loading trailers. You know, even if you didn't use them as auto-loaders in the field and had to stack the bales on them stack at a time, you know, at least when you got to where you were going, if you didn't stack them well or you knocked the stack over in your shed or whatever, yeah, just wheel that thing up, hit load, and ba-boom, second chance instantly. Indeed. This was a fair-sized chunk of dirt this one. Wow. And we got a very suitably large amount of oats out of it. So, like I say, we got enough oats to keep horses happy. But yeah, again, not enamored with the whole horse thing. You know, I mean, yeah, sure, they cost you $5 grand, and a mere hour of your time basically can turn them into 50 grand. But there's just not that much else that goes on with it. They don't produce a usable product. They don't really work under the same mechanics as the other animals in the game. You know? And at least on multiplayer, they seem almost as glitched as the chickens as far as things like feeding them. Because I have once, since we opened that server, I have once filled the chicken straw, and I have once filled the horses. And that includes blowing the straw in and all of that. Yeah, once. And basically, well, the horse seems to consume pretty much nothing. Although it is a single animal, but still. You know, I know people that own horses and they're, you know, it costs me a lot to feed him. I mean, they're a bloody expensive animal to keep, you know. It's not like one of my kitties. No, I had really hoped if Giants was going to add animals, they'd add something useful and practical, you know, like goats. That, I've said it before and I'll say it again, that would have been my first choice. Not because I'm in any way enamored with goats. It's just as a farm animal, you know, they seem eminently useful. You know, you can make cheese, they're, you know, they get a pretty healthy poop system on them. So I would imagine that goat dung is, you know, probably at least better than chicken dung. Not that we get that, of course, because, you know, our chickens don't do that. Yeah, I know. That's something else I really thought, you know, after so many iterations of this, you think they would finally figure out how to get the chickens to, you know, poop. But yeah, it seems to be a bit much. Apparently they are a forever intake. Maybe that's why they don't use any food on the multiplayer map. They simply spit it all out outside the trough and you just reload it and dump it back in. So, yeah. Unbelievable. In fact, I think as far as it goes, this may well be, now I know they've gone to a different engine, blah blah blah, but I think this may well be the buggiest release of a farm sim so far. You know, I mean, compared to other games that are released that are quote-unquote buggy, this thing is a highly polished diamond. But, yeah, for those of us that put the hours in, where you realize, okay, that's just not right. And yeah, the more I play, the more these little that's just not right things seem to rear their head. So, really? You're gonna leave me one missed grain? Okie dokie.
Whatever you say, Doug, you ready?
Oh, but back to the internet problems yesterday? Yeah, it was weird. Because I actually came back here to my computer, checked, and Xbox Live service was up and running. Everything was fine. So I went back out there and nope, it would not connect. It told me it couldn't find my provider. Well, that's just strange. So I did the usual thing. I came in, shut down my computer, and then reset my router. And this time it came up and found nothing. Even my computer wouldn't come back up to light. So I thought, well, that ain't good. And where is that trackatory? Ah, there it is. So yeah, then nothing would light back up. So, well, that's not good. So I gave it a little bit of time, and then I reset the router again, and still nothing. It wouldn't even find my ISP. Man, I've got a terrible sense of depth in this game. Whoop, 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 whoop. Come on, dude. Get it together. There you go. So, of course, I phone up the local cable company, and I am number 131 in line with an expected wait time of 45 minutes. I'm thinking, yeah, you really don't know me very well, but you wouldn't even suggest making me wait for 45 minutes to talk to someone. Yeah, because I just know nothing's that important that I'm going to hang on a telephone for that amount of time. I don't like phones, so yeah, that wasn't going to happen. But after they hadn't phoned me for well over an hour, because yeah, I left the callback thing. As I said, I decided there was no way I was just going to simply wait for it. So I got to leave the callback thing. And that nice canola was only just $1 or $2. And when they hadn't phoned back after an hour, this one's got a really weird spreader, eh? I decided to go and reset my router again. And this time, whatever the issue was, it found the ISP, it loaded everything up, and my PC was back working, and the Xbox acted as if it had never been disconnected. So, yeah. Ooh, there's my cotton field. That's something I'm looking forward to, let me tell you. I have not yet done cotton in this game. So, yeah, eventually, of course, the cable company did phone back, and, it was, hello, this is, Barbara from Vancouver. I'm like, okay, first of all, you ain't Barbara. Secondly, buddy, if you live in Vancouver, I live at the North Pole. But anyway, I said, well, don't know what the issue was, bud, but I got it straightened out, and thanks anyway, I don't need your help. So, yeah, after waiting that amount of time, pretty much what you figure, if you haven't solved it on your own, you might as well just give up. Oh, wow. Talk about a colorful field. Look at that thing. It's all red and green and white. Man, that's like a Christmas field, that thing. I don't generally use harvesters this big, so it rather astounds me when I see the numbers going up this fast in a crop like canola. Yes, indeed, Species invents an entirely new crop for Farming Simulator, canola. Well, I guess this has pretty much been just a harvesting episode, eh? Oh well, it's one of those things. It's a big part of what we need to do. So it's not surprising when it takes up a big part of our time. And I think I'm going to have to start... Yeah. I think I'm going to have to start running at 5x, because I'm pretty sure we're only on like our second day. And look at how much we've done. I've harvested like 4 or 5 fields. We built a grass meadow and harvested it once, and yeah. Like I said, I think we're only really a couple of days into this. So, could probably use a little forethought on that one. But I'm glad some of the issues didn't turn out to be as hefty duty as I thought, because I am enjoying being on this map. So, definitely one worth trying out. Alright, we're almost finished our first loop around the field. And yeah, we're not going to pull that much, I guess. We're less than half full. Of course, this is not exactly the mass we had on the other field either. So. And oats are a much more productive crop, of course, because they only sell for a quarter of what this does. So. Let's face it, if canola produced as much as the other crops for the price you get it for, nobody would ever plant anything else, would they? Canola for the win. Although oddly enough now, soybean and I believe sunflower are both worth more than canola. I'm not sure where cotton comes in on all of it. As I said, I've been purposely avoiding all things cotton because I know that we have a field to tend. In fact, kind of next thing. That's alright. We will do that. But I think I'm going to call the episode here, guys. I think you've had enough of my yammering as I harvest here. So, there you go. Big shout out to Olley, who are the viewers. And, no. As usual, take care of each other, folks. And ciao for now.